Welcome to Just the Two of Us Homestead. We are Colleen and Frank, and we live in the perfect size homestead just for us in southwestern Quebec. Gardening, growing food, and preserving is one of our passions. And our barn animals, we love them so much, they're just like pets. And we're so fortunate to be able to live our lives as we do. Each and every day is a blessing. Hi, everybody. Well, Frank went this week and picked up a bushel of apples for me at our closest Amish store in upstate New York. And these are Cortlands, and they were $16 for a bushel. I would have preferred Honeycrisp, but they were $35 a bushel. And for the purposes I'm going to use it for, I'm okay with Cortlands for $16. And they also, for this time of year, I thought it was strange, but they had grapes. So I only took half a bushel for $12. So what I did, because they needed to be dealt with right away, so I just made up some grape juice. I want to make jelly, but that's all I could do at the time. So I'm just going to insert a really quick clip of the steps that I did. I probably don't make juice the way you're really supposed to. I do it the way I saw my godmother do it. And I have beautiful, lovely grape juice for $12. I think I ended up with 12 quarts. And then later on, if I want to make jelly, I have the juice to do it. So that project had to be dealt with right away, and I got that done. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to insert another little clip right here. I'm going to make a cake for my neighbor, and this is why. Sorry guys, I didn't put the microphone on my camera right now, so you're going to hear the wind. But my neighbor, who lives down there beyond all those pretty trees, and speaking of which, look at that. Isn't it just gorgeous today? Sorry, I'm very shaky. But most of his land is all wooded back there. And he cut up all these smaller pieces of wood and he gave it to us to use as kindling. So once again, we're back at the trap door thing where our wood room is. And Frank's going to put that in the wood room today. And I'm going to make him an apple cake because he won't take anything else for it. So I'm just going to make him a cake and thank him for all his time, effort, and kindness. So he's such a lovely older gentleman. I feel weird saying that because I'm already an older lady, but he's older. And he lives alone, and his daughter comes on the weekends sometimes and spends time with him. So he often does these wonderful things for us. And in the summer or in the spring, I give him tomato plants and peppers. It's a reciprocal thing, but he does far more for us than him, and he asks for nothing in return. So I thought I would make him an apple cake. And this particular cake is so easy to make. And I know I always say that, and you know I only do easy. I did have another apple cake I made years ago that was better and easier, and I can't find it. I have searched this house high and low. This one is really good too. It's my backup. So I'm going to wash up a few apples and we're going to start baking this cake. The first thing I'm going to do before I peel the apples, which are behind me, not over there, is I'm going to mix up my dry ingredients. So once I have the apples peeled, they won't be sitting around too long. And I didn't show you guys this, but I actually changed around my drawers. When we did the kitchen, I originally wanted all my flour and sugar and everything on this drawer, but I couldn't get it to fit. But I switched things around because this is what I wanted, just so I could open the drawer and have everything here. So now I don't have to pull everything out. We need 2 cups of flour, just regular flour. I have to really, really check what I'm doing today because I'm in excruciating pain. 2 cups of sugar. Now, I know that's a lot of sugar, but this is a treat, and you don't eat a lot. Well, we don't anyway. We just eat a little piece at a time, and when it's a treat, a little bit of sugar to me, everything in moderation. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And that's all our dry ingredients. So I'm just going to whisk this around and have that ready. So when we mix our oil and eggs together, the apples will be ready to go right into the batter. There, I'm just going to set that aside. I haven't used my apple peeler since last year, so I don't know if I have it set up right. So let's give it a go and see. I usually only do my apple preserving every 2 years, other than a few baking things. So I'm not sure if I have this set up right. No, that has to go through the middle. Well, I'm going to take him off. I'll be right back. All right, I got it figured out. I just needed a pair of pliers to move that guy. So I'll finish peeling this one by hand. Some of these are so big, they barely fit. Let's see if it's going to work now. There we go. Oh, it's going to slice them for me. I forgot. Perfect. I forgot you can do the option of having the blade on. That's okay. I need 4 cups of chopped apples, so I'll just peel off what I can and chop up the rest. And I'll get Frank to come help me with the rest after because I just can't concentrate. And you're probably wondering why, if she's in so much pain, why is she doing this? Well, the pain is so bad, I can't even stay in bed. And I wanted to do this for our neighbor. And I have to start working on these apples because there's a whole bushel there. And I'll rotate going into bed and doing this. This won't take long, but I wanted to get started on some applesauce, which I do in my crock pot. I just cook up the apples Takes no effort at all. And once they're cooked down, I take the immersion blender and blend it, and that's it. So that's an easy project, which I can just take my time doing. But I can't even lie in bed. It's so bad. So that's my life today. All right, so let's see how far this is going to get. And you don't cut them very small, like pieces like that. And I do have a dirt manicure from working out in the garden 2 days ago. My hands are clean. I just can't get the dirt out, so my hands are clean. We're just about there, so these ones I'll keep to put in the applesauce. I already made a mistake. I wasn't supposed to put the sugar in with the dry ingredients. I'm sure overall it's not going to make that much of a difference, but it's just so hard to focus sometimes. Like, I can't even read a recipe. I just want to be a normal person sometimes. Always. All right, let's try this again. 2 large eggs, and you're going to beat it with the oil until it's fluffy, I believe. Let me read that again. Until creamy, but I'm not going to have as much cream because I don't have the flour. So I'm just using regular olive oil, but any oil. I guess you could do this in your stand mixer, but we're just going to be mixing it all back in the other bowl, so I find a hand mixer just fine. So it's going to get loud. I'll just show you for a minute. I went for frothy. I can't get creamy really without the sugar, so I did frothy. I will link the recipe for you down below. So I'm just making a total mess of this. So now we're going to add this. But the end result will be delicious. And again, this is a type of dessert that Frank also likes because it's not, even with the 2 cups of sugar, it doesn't taste overly sweet. It's just a nice apple. It almost tastes like a type of a loaf. It's not like a cake. I don't even think I told you what it's called. It's a German apple cake. German apple cake. I can't believe I didn't even tell you what it's called. So we're going to mix this together, and it's going to be a very thick batter. It says to use a wooden spoon. I don't know why when they specify which utensils to use. I don't know the purpose of that, but I guess so it doesn't stick to something. Oops. Then you just make a mess. Okay, now we're gonna fold in our apples. I'm not folding very well. And this makes a 9 by 13, but since he lives alone, basically, I'm gonna make 2 smaller ones because I think that's a bit much. And then maybe during the week, I'll make him something else. There, I guess that's folded. And I forgot the vanilla. I'm just going to title this video, What Not to Do When Baking an Apple Cake. This is the life of a fibro patient or a fibro person in pain and how their brain functions or doesn't function. I'm sure parts are going to have more vanilla than others, but all right. I don't want to mix it too much either, so it says to grease and flour the pans. And normally, if it was just for me, I would just spray it with a cooking spray. But this one in the square pan, I want to give to him, and I want to put it on a nice cake plate or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll just put it on a paper plate so he doesn't have to come back or something. So I'm going to grease and flour this one. And I'm just going to spray the one that I'll keep here. It'll be a little experiment too to see which one it comes out better. So I'm just using some butter, and then I'll put some flour in it and shake it around. There. And this one I'm just going to spray. So this is more than what would equal a 9 by 13. So I'm going to give him more of the batter. So his is a nice bigger cake, and we'll just have a bit of a thinner one. I don't have two of these same size pans. I guess I could have put this in a loaf pan, but I promise I've made this many times before, because ever since I lost my original cake recipe, this is the one I go to. And that's it. Other than all the mistakes I made and the thing not working, it's a really easy recipe. So this is supposed to cook for 45 minutes. But because I'm not doing it at 9 by 13, I am going to check it sooner. So 350 for 45 minutes. I'm going to check it after half an hour. So now I'm just going to go through and process a whole bunch of apples, and I'm going to cook them down in my crock pot for however long it takes. It usually doesn't take that long. And yes, I have a very old, well-loved crock pot, and I love it with all my heart. Frank bought me this so many years ago, I can't remember. The only problem is, even many years ago, I brought it to a big family dinner, and there were other casseroles there, dishes with lids like this. And somehow, when I left, this isn't my crock pot lid, so it doesn't sit just right. So I usually put a towel over it when it's cooking, and I use this thing all the time, and it works just fine. I don't want to replace it because I love it and it still works fine, and it has so many dinner memories and dessert memories in here. So I just put a towel over it, and I'm just going to keep peeling the apples. So that's what I'll do while the cake's baking. Some of these aren't going to fit into my little contraption here, and this is the one I started before. So, and one of the reasons, like there doesn't really have to be one, but one of the reasons I'm in so much pain, and it started out as something so good and that I'm happy about, is this lady contacted me well over a week ago, and she's setting up a pop-up store for November and December in 2 towns away from me. Sorry, Frank came in to check on me for a minute. All right, where was I? Oh yeah, so this lady contacted me to do this. She's doing this pop-up Christmas store, and she wants to support its only homemade things, handmade things, and to support all local artisans, I guess. And I don't know if all of you know, because I did a video last year kind of showing you my craft room, but I sew like all kinds of bags and stuff. I have why am I peeling that one? I have the link to my Facebook page in our home page on YouTube, but I can link it here too. And I can't talk and concentrate, I'm sorry. And she asked me if I would like to participate. And I was thrilled. And it's not that I've been sewing so much lately, because honestly, I just haven't. But I do have a lot of inventory because I used to do Comic-Con in Montreal, which is a huge affair. I've done that for several years. I used to do very big, not little craft fairs. I participated in very big conventions and stuff. And kind of since we've been more homesteading and my health has declined, I haven't really done much. And I have a lot of inventory just sitting around. So I was very touched and honored that she thought of me. Someone recommended me to her. So I thought, well, this is a great way to get rid of a lot of the stuff. And so what I've been doing is going through it all. It's all beautifully kept away. It's not like I just throw it in bags. But I have to go through item by item, re-iron it all, make sure, all the straps, everything is pristine. I will not ever let anything leave this house unless it's pristine. And because it's a new movement for me with the ironing and my back and that, something simple as that has sent my body into a rocket full of pain, on top of gardening, on top of doing this. And something that I'm thrilled about, something that I'm so happy about and honored and touched and all that, has turned into a very painful thing for me. And it just ticks me off, because even something like that, I can't get the pleasure from that I should be. So I have to have all this ready by November 1st. And every day I go, okay, I'll do a bit more, I'll do a bit more, but I'm running out of days to do a bit more because it's a lot of stuff. And I said to her, like, how much do you want? Just a little, because it's quite a wide range of things that I do. So I said, you just want a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And she said, no, bring me everything. I was like, oh my gosh. So for the apples, I'm going to do the applesauce, do the cake. I want to do apple pie filling, and then I think the rest are going to go in the fridge for now because I just don't have the time. And I'm out of ideas. I want to preserve them, but what do you guys preserve them in any other way? I don't know how else to preserve them other than applesauce and apple pie filling. And I'll still bake with them a few more. There's a couple of my mom's recipes I'd like to share with you, but I'm kind of like running out of ideas. And I didn't want to pass up this opportunity of $16 for a bushel of apples. And I like to can my applesauce. I had to buy new jars because I'm always giving away like jams and jellies. And so I like to do them in single serve little things and in jelly jars because I'm kind of like a little kid when we have pork or pork chops. I like to have applesauce. For you people in my generation or perhaps a bit older, remember in the Brady Bunch when Peter said he liked to have pork chops and applesauce? Well, I like to have that. So, and I usually only do my applesauce, as I said earlier, once every 2 years. So I'm going to do a bunch of that. But I'd love to have like more apple cake recipes, different dessert recipes, and how else to preserve it. And I'm sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking. So, oops, I will get continuing on this. I have made applesauce with the skins on. I know it's healthier and everything, but I wasn't keen on the texture of it. So now I peel them and I just cook it like this. So I will stop talking. I will continue my work. The cake for the 30 minutes has 10 minutes left, and I'll check it with the toothpick and see how it is then. So I'll just keep going along. The timer just went off for the 30 minutes, and I think this one is done. The little guy. Oh my gosh, it smells so nice in here. Can you smell it, Frank? And I'll check this one. I'll give him another 5-10 minutes. I'll go 8. I'll split the difference. All right, let's check this one. Perfect. So I almost have the crock pot full. This thing's giving me more trouble than it's worth right now. And some of them are too big to put on there anyway. So I'm peeling a lot of them by hand. And when I have this full, I'll put the lid on it. And I did put a little bit of water on the bottom in case it sticks. I don't want them to burn. And as it cooks down, I'm going to be adding more apples to it because that's going to shrink a lot. And once I get that done, I'm going to go sit and have a coffee for a bit. And then I don't think I'm going to get to canning to that today. So that part we can pick up on another day. And then when the cake's cooled off, let's see how easily it comes out of the pan because I've never taken the whole thing out of the pan. I've only just cut it up. So fingers crossed that works. And I'll just keep cutting up apples for now. This cake isn't good at all. We both just devoured 2 pieces. Okay, this may replace the cake recipe I can't find. It is so good. It's moist. And I'm thinking if you're worried about the sugar, the 2 cups of sugar, I think you could easily go down to 1.5 if you're worried about it. But I'm telling you, it is so good. It doesn't need icing sugar or powdered sugar sprinkled on it. It doesn't need anything. It is just delicious. So we've already destroyed that. And I'm going to be very brave. And in front of you, I'm going to try and flip this cake. I already went around the edges and loosened it. So I think it's going to be okay. So I'm going to flip it onto this plate. Yeah, that's right. And then I'm going to flip it on the plate. I'm going to give it to him in. Wish me luck. Oh, it worked. Ta-da! I didn't center it perfectly, but there. I'm telling you, it's the best apple cake you'll ever have, especially if you don't want something with icing or like a pie or something. It's very different from that. And well, I'm sure this isn't going to last at all. So there. And my apples for the applesauce, I had it on low. It's only been on like an hour or so, but they're really not doing anything. So I turned it up to high. And I'm going to call this good for today. And I'm going to cover this up and Frank can walk it over to him. And I'm sure he'll enjoy that. And we're very grateful and thankful for all that wood, because the wood we had delivered is really big logs. And to get, like kindling in that, this will work out just great. So I apologize. I know I've been grumpy and grouchy through this video. I can't even talk. And I'm going to go sit now and just let that cook on its own. And thanks for listening to me and for always being there. I really appreciate it. And until we're together again, take care.